Who's the best example of extremely rich, but still greedy? Spy magazine in the early 1990s sent $1.11 checks to 58 of New York's wealthiest individuals with the explanation from their fake clearinghouse that it was a refund of money overpaid. 26 of those individuals cashed the checks. Spy followed up with those 26 with another check for 0.64. 13 of the 26 recipients cashed the check. Finally, Spy sent those 13 people a check for 0.13. Only 2 people cashed them. Donald Trump was one of them. I don't think we're really qualified to have opinions on the extremely rich. Their world is behind a curtain we can't even conceive. The confidence that generational wealth imparts into their DNA almost makes them a separate species. I assume that they never think of themselves as greedy. If they think of themselves as anything, I imagine that it is what a wonderfully kind, clean, safe, and happy world I live in. My uncle, Fortune 100 executive for most of his career. No idea what his net worth is, but assuming north of 50 M. I know before he retired his base salary was around 2 M and his stock options were ridiculous. When my grandmother was dying, she lived alone. He drove 1,000 miles to her house to see her, but really it was to steal valuables from her because he didn't want his brother, my dad, to have them. This one rich real estate broker I used to work under, he would conduct background checks using a service, and he once complained, "I'm paying a lot of money for it, so there is no way nothing can be found. You need to try again and get so and so to help you." Dude, don't fucking complain to me about shit being expensive and act like working class folk. You live in a fucking house valued at $3 million. Every billionaire sports team owner who gets the taxpayers to buy him a new stadium. Currently the most heinous example is John Fisher, owner of the Oakland A's, who is in a legal battle with the Nevada Teachers Union trying to get tax dollars to build a stadium so he can move the team to Vegas instead of spending that money on education. Ken Griffin is building the most expensive house in the world, $104,990,000 in Florida, to escape asset seizure laws. This is interesting. I think of healthcare executives who embezzled COVID funds and haven't paid living wages to the lowest paid employees. I also have been accused of being greedy by family members when they have terrible financial habits, and they want me to co-sign a new car loan. The Kardashian family, mine is Kourtney. Enough is never enough for them. I single out Kourtney because she actually called out her sister on the show for this. She was like, "I've made my money. Now I just want to hang out with my children at home and enjoy my life." Medical insurance companies that get a majority of their revenue through government subsidies, then turn around and charge people an exorbitant amount of money, oftentimes an entire life savings worth, while still denying them medical care in the end. All of them? You don't get extremely rich without being incredibly greedy unless you are born into it. Almost every billionaire has a body count, sometimes literally, of ruined lives from their exploitation and manipulation to get to their position. Pretty much every multimillionaire billionaire. They have more money than they could spend in their entire lifetime and then some. Despite this, they continue to be morally bankrupt, cheap, and constantly hunger for more. Take-Two CEO and their other executives. Take-Two is the video game publisher for NBA 2K and GTA. The CEO recently said games should be priced by the hour instead of the one-time payment microtransactions they already have. Everyone on this planet is greedy. Extremely wealthy people differ from ordinary ones by owning businesses, large assets, and maybe huge bank accounts. Rare case, they try to have less than 5/10 of their fortune in cash. Any large shareholder of a successful company. The idea of needing constant growth is a mental illness, and it's psychotic for shareholders to expect continuous increases in profits at the expense of the worker or buyer. So much copium in here. You hate to see it. There's a lot of failure to launch types and young people anxious about their futures talking back and forth. I just hope the first doesn't cripple the latter. Wealthy people that order DoorDash and Uber Eats that not only don't tip, but tip bait. Total dickish behavior for anyone, but particularly bad when you're delivering to a mansion. You can't be a billionaire without acting greedy. It's simply a lot more money than one person could ever need in multiple lifetimes, even if they spend their money liberally. Every rich person ever, but I think the best example is Pablo Escobar. He could have retired and lived wherever he wanted. Instead, his greed got him killed. Billionaires seeking donations for natural disasters around the world. What is a drop in the bucket for them could change the lives of thousands of people. The law. I can feed everyone, but I'm going to put your people behind bars or under surveillance so they get disqualified for anything good. Smiley face. My best friend works in Wall Street and makes way more money than me. He will still try to split the Uber with me when I visit him in NY, Speechless face. All the studios and streamers who shut down Hollywood for half the year because they didn't want to pay their writers or actors fairly. Galen Weston, president of Loblaws, blamed the rising cost of groceries on suppliers, but did very little to keep their prices lower. Points in the general direction of Elon Musk. Edit: I see the Elon Musk simps are out and about today. Your hero is a tool, Schultz, the Hamburglar. He lives in McDonald's land and presumably has access to free McDonald's food but still insists on stealing more. Like, every billionaire. All of them, no exception, every single one of them. Even those who donated yes, them too. McDonald's made $14 billion in profit for this year and still raising prices to cover wage raises is the epitome of greed. Hands down the Walton family Walmart. This is a perfect example of the wealthiest living off the poorest. Larry Ellison Oracle is possibly the most aggressive of the top billionaires, and that's saying something. All of the billionaires. If you have billions, you're greedy. And it's not even up for debate. Vladimir Putin unofficially was one of the richest men in the world. Just had to take more. Literally every millionaire and billionaire. You can't have that much money and not be greedy. Bill Gates. He's buying up massive swaths of farmland and even water access rights. Cirque. Name a billionaire. All of them have severe, and destructive, mental health issues. Anybody with in excess of 1 billion. It's unfathomable what you can do with that money. Every single billionaire ever. You don't become a billionaire without pure greed. Everyone that has money. Money isn't something you say, well, I have enough. Latrell Sprewell turned down $7 million a year because he had kids to feed. I'd say you'd have to be some sort of greedy to be extremely rich. Jeff Bezos, worth $168 billion, still makes delivery drivers pee in bottles. Pretty much every politician who has been in office more than 1 or 2 terms. One of the BLM executives who bought a nice house with donations. Every CEO of every major construction company in any major city. Logan Paul, dude is wealthy but still resorts to scamming people. Kevin O'Leary. I've seen how he deals with people on Shark Tank. Gina Reinhard. Absolutely cunt. Even her kids hate her. The vast majority of rich people and corporations, all billionaires. They literally have 1,000 millions. Fuck Richard Sackler, and the whole Sackler family.